Right now, South Africa's tourism sector is bouncing back. Over 10.4 million international visitors arriving in our country last year. We've also secured over 50 global events worth 800 million rand. That is good news. It's good news for jobs, for small businesses, for local communities. But there are still questions burbling under the surface behind SA tourism and how we can ensure that this growth is sustainable. Patricia de Lille is the Minister of Tourism and joins us now on the line. Always a pleasure to have you on the show, Minister.
Good morning, Bongani. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's great to talk to you in the new year.
Yes, and blessings also for the new year for yourself.
And for all the tourists that come to our country. Hey, Minister, a record 10.4 million international visitors last year?
Yes, we are indeed very excited that, South Africa was chosen as one of the most beautiful places on earth for people to visit. But I must say that this was also not by coincidence because, we teamed up with the private sector and we had produced a tourism growth partnership plan. And we are working together and we're very focused on, what can lead to growth. So we've been concentrating and working together with the Department of Home Affairs. And we now have our first electronic travel authorization visa. And that has opened up big source markets for us like China, India, and also Mexico. And the system was tested during the G20, so it's much easier to come to South Africa. Cabinet also approved an airlift, an air access strategy for us to go out and find more direct flights to South Africa. But together with the private sector, we also coordinated destination marketing. And of course, the Chamber of Commerce of South Africa has also in the what is it now called, the BCI, the Business Confidence Index. They've also recognized that tourism added a lot of value to the Business Confidence Index.
You've already alluded
to
this,
all
Minister.
Working together, yes.
Sure, you've already alluded to this, South Africa being named the best destination in Africa.
In Africa, exactly.
This was by Travel Weekly Reader's Choice Awards. That is exciting news indeed.
Yes, indeed. Another level of confidence as it goes to tourism infrastructure investment. The French luxury resort brand Club Med will be opening in KZN in June this year. That was a public-private partnership of 2.5 billion rand. So that shows confidence in our country. We will also have our second tourism infrastructure investment conference in September of this year, where followed on 2025, where we were able to put together projects from both the public and the private sector, 8 bankable projects worth over 1 billion rand. So I can only thank the tourism sector for working together with government and also, of course, the workers, the people who are at the front desk, who are in the catering, who are in the hotels. They've all sacrificed their family time over the festive season to work to make sure that you and me, Bongani, that when we visit these institutions, we are looked after. So I think many thanks to many people in the sector.
Those numbers, that over 10 million, focuses largely, of course, on visitors from the rest of the continent. Not everyone has welcomed the picture and they don't think it's as rosy as you've outlined it. And I'll quote now the CEO of the Tourism Business Council of South Africa. That is, of course, Mr. I forget what's his name off my table. Chief Chifengwa, who argues that as far as overseas visitors, we're still at less than the figures we had in 2019. And so with all the goodwill and clearly South Africa being an attractive destination, we've yet to recover from the numbers we had before the pandemic. What's your response to that?
It's absolute nonsense. And let me say to you, Bongani, that, people are entitled to their own opinions. But, we were working with stats from Stats SA, from the World Tourism and Trade Council, from the South African Chamber of Commerce, that have illustrated and have announced this growth. If he wants to make a distinction between our brothers and sisters coming from Africa, that they are not international, then that's his problem. And, if you want to listen to him, but the rest of, even cabinet, the president, everybody has acknowledged the growth of tourism. And he is certainly not speaking on behalf of the private sector in the tourism business council.
Sure, but
that is his own individual view. It's not the tourism business council.
Hold on, though, Minister. Hold on, though. I mean, if we had 2.6 million visitors from outside the continent in 2019, and last year we had 2.3 million, so 300 fewer than in 2019, with a focus on countries like India and China. In terms of the tourism sector, those numbers are down. Surely that's something to point out?
Yes, but it's not correct. He's not pointing it out correct. If he wants to classify a visitor on the basis that you come from Africa and therefore you are not a valuable visitor to our country, when in fact, in terms of rands and cents and the spend, the highest spend comes from visitors that we arrive from the continent. And those visitors also arrive by air, they arrive by land transport. So why do you want, this is semantics, why do you want to play that up and not recognizing the bigger picture that shows there's growth? And instead of getting into who is important in that growth, I think for me, every visitor is important coming to our country. And we must treat all of them the same and not say overseas visitors because they come from Europe and America, they are more important.
I don't think that's the point, Minister. I think we appreciate...
That is the point.
Hold on, though. I think we appreciate every visitor that comes to our shores. But at the same time, government has had a focus on key markets like India, China, Mexico, and even Indonesia. Perhaps the visitors from the rest of the continent were always going to come. That growth was always going to be there. But we're not seeing it in the focus markets that we ourselves have identified. And also, we're also seeing, Minister, countries like Morocco, Egypt, Kenya, at upwards of 50% growth. These are our rivals on the continent for tourism figures from elsewhere. I think that's a fair point to raise.
Bongani, I've just said to you now that one of the stumbling blocks to get more visitors to our country in terms of ease of access has been now resolved with the reform of the visa system. And what did we do? During the G20, the Minister of Home Affairs tested the new visa system. The good news is now, for the first time, those markets like India, China, Indonesia, Mexico, and others, we have removed that obstacle. So in the past, it has been the visa applications. I have dealt with several blockages from India, from Mexico, where I had to contact Home Affairs directly and say, these are, for instance, business people that are visiting our country. So that obstacle has been removed. So we will now look at the figures in the last quarter of the year. We are talking here about the calendar year. But in terms of reporting, in terms of the performance of tourism, we report on a financial year that will end at the end of March. we have announced that in the calendar year, we have now, that's from January to December 2025, we have received this 10.48 million visitors. And if you compare that with the figures of a calendar year of 2019, in fact, we must compare it with 2018, because 2018 was the highest on the record ever received in our country. We have broken that record in this calendar year. This is the highest ever number of visitors to South Africa in a calendar year. So I think to get into try and segment and almost want to discriminate against certain visitors coming from the continent, that is just not on.
Okay. Minister, fair enough. Thank you for your time.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate
Thank
these
you,
numbers,
Bongani.
and hopefully we'll also grow some of those focus areas, hey?
Yes, 2027 we're going to host the spring Davos conference that mirrors the WEF in Davos right here in our country.
All
Later on now at 9 o'clock this morning, we're launching the Live Golf, also a first for the continent. And then the Cricket World Cup in 2027. So that shows confidence in business events to be hosted in South Africa. And we have illustrated that we are capable and able to host events like the G20.
All right.
But thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Minister of Tourism. Very optimistic, Patricia de Lille.
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions.
your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.